Sinbad. Our story begins in old Baghdad. A rich old man is very ill in bed. He calls to his son, Sinbad. "I'm dying, Sinbad," says the old man. "You can have all my money, my son, but you must be careful with it." "Please don't die, father," says Sinbad. Sinbad's father dies, and Sinbad is unhappy for a long time. But one day he thinks, "I'm a very lucky man. I have got a lot of money now, some beautiful things, and a big house." Sinbad buys new things to wear and expensive things to eat with his father's money. Every evening, Sinbad's friends come to his house. They have a big dinner and laugh all night. But after a year, Sinbad has got no more money. "What can I do?" he thinks. He looks at the things in his father's house. He sees all the beautiful carpets. Suddenly, he has an idea. "I can sail to different countries," Sinbad thinks. "And I can sell these carpets for a lot of money." Sinbad finds an old ship with a very old captain. 3 days later, Sinbad is ready to leave Baghdad. He talks to all the men on the ship. "I want to sell my carpets and bring back a lot of money," he tells them. The ship sails away from Baghdad and out to sea. After 10 days at sea, Sinbad is very thirsty. He sees a beautiful island. "Please stop," he says to the captain. Sinbad and some of the sailors go on to the island. Sinbad takes a barrel. He wants to look for some water. "What a wonderful island," says Sinbad. They begin to look for water. But suddenly the island moves. "The island is moving," says Sinbad. "Oh no," cry the sailors. "This isn't an island, it's a whale." The whale moves down into the water. All the sailors are in the sea. "Help! Help!" they cry. Sinbad quickly gets into the barrel. Now he is at sea in the barrel. "Hello! Hello!" he cries again and again, but nobody answers. Sinbad's barrel moves on the sea all night. In the morning, he looks out and sees a small island. Soon the barrel comes to the island, and Sinbad gets out. Suddenly, the sky becomes black. Sinbad feels afraid. "Help! What's happening?" he cries. He looks up at the sky. A very big bird is flying nearer and nearer. "Oh no," he thinks. "That bird is a rock." The rock sits down and goes to sleep. Sinbad takes off his turban and he puts it around the rock's leg. "When the rock flies away, I can leave the island too," he thinks. After some time, the rock wakes up and flies away. Sinbad flies up into the sky with the bird. The rock flies for hours and hours. In the end, it flies down into a valley and lands there. In the valley, Sinbad finds lots of little rocks. "What are these?" he thinks. "I know," he cries. "They're jewels." And he puts some of them in his bag. Then he hears a noise. There are 3 big snakes behind him. He runs away very fast. In front of him, he sees a dead animal. He goes behind the animal and waits. Soon, a rock flies down and takes the dead animal up into the sky. Quickly, Sinbad puts his arms around the dead animal. He flies up into the sky with the rock. The rock flies out of the valley and it lands near a village. The men from the village run to see it. Then the rock flies away. Sinbad comes out from under the dead animal. "Who are you?" ask the men from the village. "I'm Sinbad the sailor," he says. "I was in the valley." The people are surprised. "Nobody goes into the valley," they say. "The snakes eat everything there." "Not me," laughs Sinbad. "You're very lucky," they say. Sinbad wants to go back to Baghdad. He gives the jewels to the people, and they find a ship for him. When Sinbad arrives in Baghdad, he meets his friends. "Is it you, our old friend Sinbad?" they ask. "Yes, but I'm Sinbad the sailor now," he says. And he tells them about his adventures. Sinbad's friends come to visit him at his father's house, but there is nothing to eat or drink, and there are no carpets in the house. His friends soon go away. "I need some more adventures," thinks Sinbad. The next morning, Sinbad finds a ship and a captain, and soon he's ready to leave Baghdad again. After a week at sea, the ship arrives at an island. "That's the island of 𝐄𝐍𝐆𝐋𝐃, says the captain. Sinbad gets off the boat and explores the island with 2 of the sailors. Suddenly, the sky goes black, and there's a big storm. The storm takes the ship far out to sea. Sinbad and the 2 sailors are now the only people on the island. They climb behind some big rocks, and when night comes, they go to sleep. In the morning, they find a very big snake around them. The snake eats one of the sailors. Quickly, Sinbad and the second sailor climb a tree. They stay there all day and all night. When Sinbad wakes up in the morning, he's alone. Oh no, the second sailor is dead too, he thinks, and I'm the snake's next breakfast. Just then, Sinbad sees some wood near the tree. He climbs down the tree and he makes some armor from the wood. Then he climbs the tree again. Sinbad stays in his armor all night. The snake moves around him, but it can't eat Sinbad. In the morning, Sinbad sees a ship out at sea. I know that ship, he thinks. It's my old ship. The snake is sleeping in the sun near the tree. Sinbad quietly climbs down the tree. Then he runs to the sea. The snake wakes up and comes after him. But Sinbad runs faster and gets to the sea before the snake can eat him. Sinbad swims to the ship. It's Sinbad, cry the sailors. You're a very lucky man. We have all your beautiful carpets from Baghdad. Thank you, says Sinbad. The ship sails home. It stops at lots of different countries, and Sinbad sells all his carpets. When he arrives in Baghdad, he has got a lot of money. Sinbad meets his friends, and he tells them all about his adventures. But after some time, Sinbad is not happy in Baghdad. I want to go back to sea, he tells his friends. A week later, Sinbad leaves Baghdad on a big, tall ship. He's very excited. It's time for some more adventures, he tells the captain. The ship sails for 3 weeks, but one night there's a storm. The ship breaks here and there, and it must land. In the morning, the ship arrives in a new country. Sinbad sees some people. They take Sinbad to their king. Sinbad tells the king about his wonderful adventures. The king listens carefully. You're a lucky man, he says. You can make us lucky too. You must marry my daughter. When Sinbad sees her beautiful face, he falls in love with her at once. Sinbad marries the king's daughter in front of the king and all the people. A year after the wedding, the king's daughter becomes ill. A friend talks to Sinbad quietly. Be careful. When a woman dies in this country, they bury the husband with her, he says. What? Cries Sinbad. The king's daughter becomes very ill, and in the end, she dies. The king buries Sinbad with his daughter. He also buries lots of jewels with them. Sinbad is now far under the ground. He closes his eyes and he waits to die. But suddenly, he sees an animal near him. It's a big, strange, black and white animal. Sinbad puts lots of jewels in his bag, and he quickly follows the animal through the ground. When Sinbad comes out from under the ground, he meets some sailors. I'm Sinbad the sailor, that tells them. The sailors are surprised. Sinbad? But Sinbad is dead, they say. Well, I'm not dead now, Sinbad says, and I want to meet your captain. The sailors take Sinbad to their ship. Are you Sinbad? Sinbad the sailor? Asks the captain of the ship. Yes, says Sinbad. Then sail with us and tell us about your adventures, says the captain. The ship sails for many weeks. Then the ship sails into a bad storm and breaks. Sinbad lands in the sea. After many hours in the water, he arrives on a beach. Sinbad begins to explore. There are big black rocks all around the beach and a big cave with a river in it. He finds wood from old ships and hundreds of jewels in the cave. More jewels, says Sinbad, and he puts some of the beautiful jewels in his bag. Soon he begins to feel hungry. There are lots of jewels here, he thinks. But there's nothing to eat. I must look for something, but where? Sinbad takes wood from the old ships and makes a raft. He puts the raft on the river in the cave and rows for days through the dark cave. He feels more and more hungry every day. After 6 days, he's very ill and tired, but then he sees some blue sky. He can also see 2 strange men. Welcome to the country of Serendib, they say. Please give me something to eat, cries Sinbad. The men give Sinbad lots of good things to eat. You're a lucky man, say the men. Come with us to see our king. Sinbad meets the king of Serendib. He gives the king some of the jewels from the beach. He also tells him about the most important man in Baghdad, the caliph. Your caliph is a very good and wise man, says the king. Here are some presents. Please take them to him. Sinbad sails back to Baghdad with presents for the caliph. He thinks about his adventure in the cave. This time I want to stay at home in Baghdad, he thinks. When Sinbad gives the presents to the Caliph of Baghdad, the Caliph says, I have some beautiful carpets for this wise king of Serendib. Please take them to him. Oh no, thinks Sinbad. Back to sea again. Sinbad sails from Baghdad again with the presents for the king of Serendib. The king is happy to see Sinbad again, but Sinbad wants to go home. I'm tired of adventures now, he says. Sinbad finds a ship and sails back to Baghdad. One day, a sea monster attacks the ship. Help! Cries Sinbad. Not more adventures! The monster is angry. It eats some of the sailors from the ship. Quickly, Sinbad gets into a little boat and rows away. The monster doesn't see Sinbad in his boat. It is looking hungrily at the sailors in the sea. Sinbad lands on an island. He leaves his boat on the beach and goes to explore. Sinbad finds a dark cave on the island. He can hear a noise. Someone's crying, he thinks. He looks into the cave and sees a young woman. In front of her, there's a monster. The monster is sleeping. She's the monster's prisoner, thinks Sinbad. I must help her. That night, Sinbad waits near the cave. After some time, the monster flies away to look for something to eat. Sinbad goes into the cave. Come quickly, he says to the woman. But who are you? She asks. I'm Sinbad the sailor, he says. I can help you. Thank you, says the young woman. I'm Yasmin. Sinbad takes Yasmin to his boat on the beach. Can you row? Sinbad asks her. Of course I can, she says. Well, here's my boat. Let's row. Sinbad and Yasmin row all night. In the morning, Sinbad sees his ship. Sinbad and Yasmin climb up to the ship. Sinbad, the sailors cry. You're alive. Of course, says Sinbad. And this is my friend Yasmin. Sinbad and Yasmin sail back to Baghdad. Yasmin is very excited. I want to meet all your friends, she says. Sinbad takes Yasmin to his house. Yasmin is surprised. You're very rich, she says. But money isn't the most important thing, says Sinbad. We must spend our money wisely and help people. Sinbad then goes into the streets of Baghdad, and he gives some of his money to the people there with no homes. Thank you, Sinbad, they cry. You're truly a wise and good man. Picture dictionary. Ill, money, rich, expensive, laugh, lucky, captain, carpet, sell. Unhappy, ship, sea, barrel, island, sailor, move, whale, valley. Bird, sky, rock, land, sleep, turban, animal, dead, jewels. Adventure, surprised, alone, climb, explore, storm, armor, tree, wood. Sail, wake up, raft, break, country, excited, fall in love, marry, row. Bury, ground, husband, beach, cave, river, present, wise, attack. Monster, cry, prisoner, spend, street.